XRP and the rest of the cryptocurrency market has a lot to look forward to next week. In today's video, we're going to talk about all the key events that you need to make sure you pencil into your calendar. There's multiple that are going to happen through the end of July, Monday through Friday going into the weekend. And in addition, some breaking news coming in from Donald Trump regarding tariffs. Finally, the EU and the US have completed their tariff agreement. And also, there's an extension for China and the US trade deal. Now, remember, as always, never financial advice, just trying to put you guys on a place that I'm in. If you're new around here, smash the like button and also consider subscribing to the channel. The overall market continues to look very, very good, leading into the final week of July, which we're hoping is the final week of the quantitative easing, and we switch over to final week of QT or quantitative tightening to now a QE type calendar schedule for economic outlook, which risk on assets, especially crypto, is going to benefit tremendously from. So the overall market's looking good. A lot of things and altcoins are in the green. Bitcoin holding above 119,000, ETH at 38.50, and XRP doing its thing, $3.21. Looking fantastic before market open. And by the way, another significant thing for an altcoin, BNB actually breaking a new all-time high. So the momentum right now, it looks like BTC alt pairs are finally flipping. Altcoins are outperforming BTC, and this is where we see a lot of liquidity inflows come in to the alternative coins like XRP and many others. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that have happened in the last 24 hours. First and foremost, we need to talk about breaking news. Donald Trump says the US has reached a trade deal with the EU or the European Union. The deal includes an agreement to open up trade at 0% tariff, which is phenomenal. EU to buy $750 billion of US energy. The EU to purchase vast amounts of US auto, and tariffs on automobiles reduced to 15%. Trump calls this the biggest deal reached ever. This is from the Kobesi letter. The EU is also reported to set investments of $600 billion in the United States as a part of the deal. And the reason this is so big for crypto and XRP is because you guys need to make sure you understand this kind of money coming into the United States as the crypto capital, or that's what at least Trump is coining it, could potentially be investments in future US-based investments in the cryptocurrency industry. And we know, of course, XRP being one of the biggest ones that could be of benefit, as it is amongst the top three, the only crypto that was born in the United States. Because, of course, we know ETH is Canadian-based with Vitalik Buterin, and Bitcoin is pseudo-anonymous with Satoshi. Now, let's talk about the things to look forward to next week, because that's what I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Key events: the CB consumer confidence data, that's going to be on Tuesday. The June JOLTS job opening data. This is all economic data that we can then assess to decide which direction the market will go on or go to. Q2 2025 GDP data to see, are we officially out of a recession from a GDP standpoint? The Fed meeting and interest rate decision, which is the biggest event. So make sure you guys have this 100% penciled into your calendar, because we don't care about, the expectation is a pause in rates continued from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell and his team. But what we want to see is, what does Jerome Powell say after the meeting? So with that being said, Wednesday, what are they going to decide moving forward for the rest of 2025? Are we going to start to continue to see rate cuts all the way through the end of the year, or what we kind of see? June PCE inflation data on Thursday, and then the July jobs report come Friday. Very massive week coming ahead. So I'm actually really excited. I'm excited to see what this all brings in terms of potential risk on excitement, people coming into the market for the first time, and hopefully new all-time highs across the board for altcoins. I really want to see how ETH performs and XRP performs, as those are kind of the pulse checks for the altcoin market, especially for US-based investors, and honestly, international investors as well. But here's also something that I want to make sure you guys take into account going into next week. So this was published on Sunday, July 27th. Today, Ripple's patent positions XRP as a swift alternative for faster cross-border transactions. This is from AI Invest. I've really been liking this because it's very much concise information being sent to, or from AI Invest's highlights, basically, of all the things to look forward to. Ripple's EP3054405A1 patent introduces temporary consensus subnetworks, enabling faster XRP-based cross-border payments via dynamic validator groups. XRP functions as a neutral bridge asset, potentially replacing SWIFT by offering customizable, decentralized consensus for institutional transactions. All this is front run by, of course, the news that we're looking forward to, and that is XRP exchange traded funds, or a spot XRP exchange traded fund. Because now, not only will institutions potentially start utilizing XRP for this, as we talked about in yesterday's video with a big NASDAQ publicly traded company looking to adopt XRP with their SEC filing, but now we're talking that XRP has inflows for investments coming from institutions and just other publicly traded companies. But in addition, now they have the utility aspect as well. The system allows real-time settlements with adjustment security levels, addressing scalability challenges in sectors like CBDCs and interbank transfers, while positioning XRP as infrastructure for global finance. Guys, don't overlook that statement. Infrastructure for global finance is the way XRP could be looked at. Adoption depends on regulatory acceptance and institutional trust in blockchain solutions. Sorry, my allergies are acting up. I want to sneeze, but it's not coming out. So we'll keep the video rolling. So with that being said, guys, at the end of the day, right now, we are at a very strong crossroads. One thing that I talk about all the time is cryptocurrency. One of the quants, or basically TA experts that I really like to see what he talks about. And Bitcoin is still very much in the expensive, but not even in the very expensive region. We're not in full-blown euphoria yet. And the other way to look at that, from CoinMarketCap, I like to look at the fear and greed index, which we still sit barely at greed, basically neutral sentiment when it comes to the fear and greed aspect of the market. When the market is in extreme greed, I'll be the first person that mentions, hey, everybody, you're probably all in profit if you were investing over the last few months and even few years, as we are at a new all-time high, most likely, when the market enters into extreme greed. And with that being said, if you are in need of profits and taking profits, that is going to be the time to do so. But I'm not saying to sell in your entire position. I'm going to say that it's maybe time to de-risk, hold stables for a dip, or also consider making other avenues of investments with the gains that you've made. So that's always how it goes. You dollar cost average in. We talk about that all the time on this channel. But with the same token, I need to make sure to keep you guys in the loop and aware that you need to also dollar cost average out when it makes sense. Right now is not the time to take profits yet. I believe we're going to enter into extreme greed and extreme euphoria, and that's the time where we can start taking profits. But for right now, it's still the accumulation phase. And over the next few months, and I'm talking several months forward, I think we're going to see this pivot and the shift from QT to QE, quantitative easing, retail demand, retail interest, Bitcoin breaking a new all-time high, 130, 140, 150, let's even say potentially $200,000 BTC. But when ETH, yes, not XRP, but ETH breaks its all-time high, that's when we'll see the next wave of retail and institutional demand for other altcoins. And right now, you tell me as a retail investor that's probably watching this video, if you come into a market for the first time, you see Bitcoin at $118,000, too expensive. If you're looking at Ethereum at $3,845, too expensive. You look at XRP and see it at $3.20. As a first-time investor, you're not looking at market cap. You're not looking at trade volume. All you want to know is how much does it take for me to get one of this cryptocurrency? And XRP costs $3.20. Most people in this world, even if you're working a minimum wage job, can't afford to buy a single XRP. So that makes people feel that they have more market exposure than holding a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of an ETH or a fraction of a Bitcoin. So when it comes to retail excitement, retail demand, XRP is going to be one of the first cryptocurrencies that sees a lot of inflows, especially with now having its perfect setup. No more issues with the SEC, as their case is basically now dismissed and complete. We know that they're going to, if there is any capital gains based news where Donald Trump decides no more capital gains for cryptocurrency, at least for the year of 2025 going into 2026, then what happens? We'll see even limitless inflows into crypto, especially things like XRP. Guys, I do appreciate your support as always. So thank you for all the support. Over 7,000, I believe, new subscribers over the last couple weeks now. It's been amazing. It's been enjoyable. And I hope that we continue to see this run up in the market. We had a really nice cool off period last week, but I think we continue the trek forward beginning Monday. I appreciate you guys. We'll see you all next week. And until next time, as always, keep investing. Peace.